They convinced me to join the monastery, convinced me to become a monk. It wasn't just the cool kung fu moves that allured me.
The Flumph convinced you to become a monk.
They convinced me that the teachings here are important, worth learning. And you see, he actually has tattoos on both of his shoulders, coming down onto his chest of the swirling spiral patterns of the Flumph paintings.
Huh.
Like he's that dedicated.
That's an ingenious use of their spines.
Wow.
And Nodal pipes up, says, I was one of the first to join the monastery when I was a very, very young man, younger than Gremig is now.
And the Flumps convinced you too to join?
The Flumps hadn't been discovered on the mountain yet. It was Ferdak and a couple of dwarves, and that's about it, really. Dayan was here already, but other than her, Dayan's the one you told the story to earlier, the sea shanty.
Mm.
She's the seneschal of the quarters here, where you all are staying. That's her job. She's one of the eldest monks.
I'm mute.
Natick says,
No, you're not on mute.
Yes, besides Dayan, I would think I was the first. And he looks kind of proud at that statement.
Arik nods. Well, I think it's good that you've found something to believe in.
Okay. So, you have a pleasant conversation with Natick and Gremig, and where do you go after that?
I don't know. Where are we staying?
19.
Probably go back.
Right up here.
Probably go back to.
There's a tunnel that leads from the hot spring up into one of the basement levels of the quarters here.
Cool. We'll do that.
As you're coming out of the tunnel into the basement level of the quarters, having donned your robes and your vestments and your armor, you see a girl,
refresh,
a young woman, a monk. Well, not that young. She's almost, I guess she's late 30s, isn't young. This is an anime, right? This is a Final Fantasy game, 35
Yes.
means you're old and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well just quit then.
Might as well.
And she's carrying bundles of cloth from one space to another in the quarters, and she sees you, and she stops what she's doing, and it looks like she's going to say something, but she thinks better of it and turns and scurries away.
I visibly notice this, right?
Obviously. Oh yeah, it was very obvious.
I sort of shout after, "Excuse me, would you like any help?"
And you don't get a response. She doesn't turn back around.
Miss! I sort of half-heartedly follow after her a little bit.
And when you come back up, you're in the common room, and all the patrons are here, having conversation and food, and you don't see her up here anymore.
Huh. Weird.
Nick, what is Orphan doing this evening?
So Orphan is going to stay behind with Ferdak because she has a lot of questions about the rest of the cosmology that she never heard about.
Okay. What do you ask him?
So she asked him to go into more detail on the other two, with the ones he called the what was it, the Ruiner and the Jailer?
The Ruiner and the Jailer.
Yeah.
The Ruiner, he explains, is the opposite of the Matron. The Matron sets everything to order, and the Ruiner brings everything back to chaos. And that's really it. It's not like a good versus evil kind of thing. It's just the world is creative, and someday the world will go back to what it was before it was created. But in between, it is what we make of it here. And this differs from your teachings of inevitability, where you learned mostly that the Weaving Mother creates these things. She weaves destinies together, and then what they are, they are. And
Okay. And what of the Jailer?
The Jailer, he says, so I want you to picture the biggest city you've ever been to.
and Orphan thinks of Kiska.
They would have to be Kiska.
Yeah.
Fairdak's not real familiar with Kiska, but he says, I know of a city much larger. Larger than any city on any prime material world. with no leaders, with no law, as you would think of it. A city with 10,000 doors that go in and out. And keeping this place centered is the jailer. She keeps it together. She keeps it from falling apart. He said, I've been to this city, and I've been through many hundreds of its doors, and I've seen many of your kind there. Very, very common. More common than dwarves are here in Tetlateus. He says, the jailer sees this city, keeps it running, this center of everything, where all peoples, all races, all stripes of life are welcome, but allows none to take control. She's called the jailer because she herself is unable to leave this place. It sits somewhere in between the creation and the destruction of cosmology. It's the center of everything.
And that's her relationship to the other two, is she looks after their creation?
She stands apart from it. This city, this center of everything, is not a part of the world, any world that you or I would know of it. It's not part of the pattern woven together by the matron or torn apart by the ruiner.
I don't understand how such a thing can exist.
So
I have always known that everything comes from the Wheeling Mother, and if, as you say, everything must go to ruin at the end of it, how can anything exist beyond those two things?
These are very deep questions. So I know brothers that have sat in contemplation of these questions for their entire lifetimes. But even in our philosophy, even in our brotherhood, they are very, very wary of meditating too much on the existence of the jailer. Those who come to revere her, those who come to seek answers to her existence, tend to disappear.
I see.
I was gonna say, this dude's about to have a real bad day. This is his religion.
What are the questions?
Let's see.
The dialogue tree goes back to the start. They all pop up again.
I'll ask if he has ever heard of anyone who of any sects who ever went the other way and focused only on the ruiner.
And he nods and he tells you there are that of the Brotherhood, very small splinters go that way with the philosophy. And he tells you of a group, an almost religious group, apart from the Brotherhood, but allied with them. Mm-hmm. That they see all order coming unraveled, everything coming undone, and their job is to guard that unraveling, to make sure that everything unravels the way it's supposed to in the time that it's supposed to take. And he tells you that this particular group, this particular philosophy exists inside of the city at the center. He tells you it's existed since time immemorial. It predates even our Brotherhood. He says, I don't know much of the detail of their teachings, but after seeing Trennis, I would like to learn more of it.
All right. I'll just say you've given me a lot to think about. I grew up my whole life knowing only one facet of these three that you talk about.
He nods and he says, and an important truth, something that your human mentor may not have told you, is that you say you've learned of one of these three facets, but the truth is there are many facets, an uncountable number of them, many of which reside within your companions. Each of them follow their own path, have their own truths. These are just as real as the ones that you've been taught and the ones that I teach my students, and it's important to sample from all of them.
Interesting.
And the dialogue tree pops open again.
No, that's it. That's all the questions I have for now.
Okay. And okay, we already did Arik. Where's Khalil at?
Back down at the smithy, unless he's already closed up and is not taking anybody else.
Get on to the forge.
Yeah.
And a hatch opens.
All right. I will stab that goblin.
I mean, you approach the forge. It's dark. Lights are not lit. Door's not sitting outside. Door's locked.
Okay, then. I'll just have to come back tomorrow, then.
Okay, what else are you going to do tonight?
Figured I'd head up to the hot springs, so I'd probably run into Arik at some point then.
Well, by the time you get back up to the hot springs, Eric's already gone. Let me see who's there, though. Because, I mean, this walk down this switchback path takes a long fucking time.
Yeah.
That's a long walk on very steep terrain.
Wait, I thought there was a tunnel.
Yeah, I thought they were getting there from the
Oh,
forge.
no.
He went down to the
to the
forge,
blacksmith.
though.
Oh,
There's no
okay.
tunnel down to the forge. They don't have an easy path to the forge because this is not part of the monastery. This is something
So
that this dwarf did on his own.
like, what looks like a stairway right along this area doesn't exist?
Where at?
Okay.
Oh, this here?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I didn't even notice that before. We'll say it exists, but it's too crumbled to walk.
Okay.
They've never cleared it. You could offer to clear it, I guess.
As we forgot about it.
I didn't even notice it looking at this map.
I don't think I ever noticed the western staircase last time I saw this map.
Like, I noticed the path coming over here. I guess I just never traced where the path
That
goes.
staircase hasn't been used since this place was called Guardmore Abbey.
Guardmore Abbey. So you go down to the hot springs. And when you get there, the two fat men are soaking.
Oh, God.
The two guys from the quarters, and they look up. And they see you, and they welcome you down. Say, come, my friend, join us. Sit in the only comfortable place on this god-forsaken mountain.
If yeah, I'll get into the hot springs as well, and as I'm doing that, I'll ask. So, if it's so godforsaken, then why did you come here?
They look at each other and look back. They said, because we thought that these monks had any sense. That's why. They introduce themselves as Jason and Gleason.
Jason and Gleason.
They're down on their luck merchants from a river village, long ways away, in the opposite direction that you guys came from. You guys came from Garrett, and this would be in the opposite direction, called Staghorn Falls. And they're entrepreneurs that have yet to find their fortune, but they heard about this paint that is created by the Flumphs. And it intrigued them, and they came here thinking about, okay, these things are dream seers, and people make pilgrimages to this monastery. I'll bet we can go there, cut a deal, and sell this paint back at home for outrageous prices to, like, wealthy art connoisseurs.
This sounds like an Eldove plan.
But
Flumph paint.
they got here, and they found that the monks were not interested in any kind of mercantile deal, and that the Flumphs don't really have any conception of ownership or merchants or anything like that. So
So
they've hit a brick wall, and so they've been here for a couple of days, and they feel like all they need to do is come up with the correct angle, and they'll have it. And if they can just make the argument the right way.
Flumph paint is a thing.
well, I'm
Flumph
unfortunately I'm not. I'm not the businessman of my entourage, but the half elf would be the one to talk to about that kind of thing.
The half-elf. They exchange glances and look back at you. This is the one dressed as a Dunfoss noble.
Yes, that's him.
Could you make an introduction?
I suppose I could.
We'd be most appreciated. And they both have tiny, tiny peckers. I'm talking, like, micro penis. Okay, I mean, like, they stand up
That's
and
important.
their shit just gets, like, sucked up into rolls of fat. It's awful. Like, ugh.
Khalil does not need to see that.
I
Why
hope you
couldn't
wrote
why
that
couldn't the
down
cleric
in your
have seen?
notes.
Why couldn't
And
It's
you're
why couldn't
because
the
of
cleric
the
have seen that?
water.
Why could the cleric have seen that?
Khalil is packing a very respectable 6.5 inches.
Yeah.
Jesus, this campaign.
Well,
All right, what do I have to roll?
what's funny is Brick Road is the one who is obsessed with dicks.
I
Not
love
me.
dicks. What's wrong with dicks? There's nothing wrong with dicks. Anyway. So you're gonna set them up with a meeting with Eldove. Is that the idea?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Okay. When do you want to set this meeting for?
Well, I'll have to get with Eldove and find out when he's available, but...
So you tell them that you'll get back with them?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that all you want to do with these guys? Do you have any... Want to steer the conversation? Any questions for
Not
them? Want to learn anything?
particularly.
Okay.
Not particularly.
Zook! Really? Really? Oh, you're going to the Ranger's house, or you're going to the Poison Wood? Like,
The
where are we
Ranger's house.
at? Okay.
Oh, let's go to the Poison Wood.
Yes, Poison Woods. I love it. Just like
So I do
it's
have
like
to question how I get to the Ranger's house without going through the Poison Woods.
it's like
You
the
would take
poison
the-
water in
take-
Middle Blade that punches you.
You would take the tunnel down to the hot springs and take the path down here. This path, we'll just say, it doesn't actually go into the woods.
Okay.
It skirts the border, and you get there, and you can see this wood is some kind of corruption and sickness has taken hold in it.
Is it a poison hedge maze? That looks like a hedge maze.
I know. I imagine when this was Guardmore Keep, it was
It's
a hedge maze, but
it's a hedge maze.
But it's just like an actual forest that's just swampy, poisony.
And maybe 400 years ago, when this keep was prosperous, it might have been a hedge maze. But
Is it haunted by the ghost of people stuck in the hedge maze?
can you detect? Can you?
Spin a banana.
Well, first question is, do you go into the poison forest?
Oh God, no! I'm going to the Rangers.
Okay.
So I definitely want Eldove to go there later.
You get there, and the place is dark. But sitting out front, I mean, you recognize him as a half-orc, which you find peculiar because you've come to learn that half-orcs are not very well regarded in this world, given the situation with Block back in Garreton.
Yeah, but he was nice, so I'm hoping these guys aren't going to be terrible.
I don't know if he was nice as much as he was sociable.
He was sociable, yes.
And he has a little fire going. It looks like he's roasting some meat of some kind. It's been skinned and prepared, so you're not sure what. And he sees you come up. He nods at you. Says, "Have a seat, my young friend. My little friend." I'm sorry, he doesn't call you young, call you little.
Okay.
Says, I've hair enough for two."
Oh, Zook is very, very grateful and comes and sits down and introduces himself.
And this guy is like a super half-orc. Like, this is one of them half-orcs that know he's an orc and he's goddamn proud of it. Like, you see very visible tusks coming up out of the bottom of his mouth. He's got, like, the black top knot happening where he's got it,
Shaved except for that.
yeah, like, done up with twine and then flows down his back as a long ponytail.
Is he dressed as a ranger as well? I mean, I'm assuming he is one of the rangers.
Oh, he is, and you see his bow and quiver sitting next to him on the side. A short sword next to that. He's wearing leather armor. All of his equipment looks very worn, but very well cared for.
I ask him his name. After I introduce myself, I ask him his name.
He introduces himself as Kalutar.
Okay.
Somewhat of Ben's boys. You've heard of Ben, haven't you?
I ask if he is the older ranger who would have been down in the common room earlier.
He nods. He says, "Ben's lived on this mountain his whole life."
I tell him I haven't made his acquaintance, but I saw him earlier. This is actually what brought me up here.
He says, "Well, he's asleep now inside. He and Vofak, and not inclined to wake them up. But I'm a night owl, you see."
And I explained to him that I couldn't help but notice the transaction that took place earlier today with them bringing meat down, and they seem to be the primary source of meat in the area, and I wouldn't mind being able to procure some meat of my own and maybe make a sale at the same time.
He offers you part of his hair that he's roasting up.
Oh, and I'm very grateful. I say, you know, I'm good with the bow. I'm not trained as a ranger, but I'm good with the bow, and I wouldn't mind. I don't know, coming on a hunt.
Eat the meat. Eat the meat.
I saw these fat guys, and you seem to have the most meat here. I'd be interested in procuring some meat of my own.
Does the meat
Now I'm
smell
really
good to
wondering
Zook?
why there's no Final Fantasy Legend card here.
Now, At the mention of the fat guys, Kettlertar just laughs.
Wait, I didn't actually mention the fat guys.
No, but you mentioned the transaction that took place earlier.
Oh yeah,
he would know
it was
about
with
it.
the fat guys. Yeah.
And he laughs. He says, they're so desperate for meat, they're willing to pay 5 gold pieces per hair. Can you believe that?
I saw it, and I definitely thought that was interesting.
He shakes his head and says, don't get the wrong idea. He says, Ben's not scamming them, but they offered, so we accepted.
No. And Zook just kind of laughs and is like, their initial offer was 5 gold pieces of rabbit?
He says, they could have had them for free if they just asked.
Oh, that is amazing.
He says, we share everything the mountain has to offer. He says, we've been good to these monks. The monks have been good to us. Ben's been especially good to me and Vofok. And at this point, the hair is done, and he rips some chunks of it off and hands them over to you.
Is he eating as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
He
paranoid.
tears
yeah,
into
Zook eats some of the rabbit. He's definitely
And-
hungry for some meat.
I mean, no cutlery, no nothing. He's just eating it right off the skeleton.
I mean, Zook's from the forest. I'm sure he's eaten something off a bone before. And Zook, I don't know. I don't know why, but he's eager to use his bow. He's curious if you'd let him come on a hunt sometime with him. He had nothing else really to do in this area.
He nods. He says, I'll introduce you to Ben tomorrow if you come down at first light.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd absolutely like to.
Well, it's very good to make your acquaintance, Zook.
Thank you so much for the rabbit, and I'll see you tomorrow. I wanna pay you back for it.
Are you wearing your
Okay.
bow? Do you have it on you, or did you leave it in your room?
Yeah, he usually carries his bow around if they're not, peace bonded anywhere. I mean, they're not peace bonding us here. It didn't sound like so.
No, they're not.
Yeah, he would have his bow on him.
Then Keldar asks if he can examine it.
Yeah, actually, sure, why not?
This
Take a look
bow
at
is
it.
Keeskin make, right? You bought this at auction, yes?
That I bought. That was not. I didn't get an old bow +1. This is
Gotcha.
actually Keeskin made.
Right.
Yeah, Khalil put him onto that, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, and he looks at it. This is a fine weapon, but it's no hunting bow. And he hands it back. He says, what have you been shooting with it?
I kind of roll my eyes and say, well, recently goblins. A lot of goblins.
He says, good.
I ask him, I kind of hook a thumb in the direction we came from and say, do you know about a tower? About, what was it, a week's journey? Or I don't know how far away it was.
He shakes his head and says, not familiar with it.
Well, long story short, we got into a situation where we were in a tower that was crawling literally with goblins, and they were a pain. But I took out quite a few of them with this, and I kind of tapped my bow and my rapier.
He looks
Tap both muscles.
he looks satisfied with the description of you shooting goblins with your bow. He approves. Alright, so you're gonna come back at first light and meet the rangers?
Yeah, sure, why not? I feel like hunting. I feel like getting a little cross training.
Who has cube right now?
Has he finished indexing?
I guess he
Has my
hasn't
indexing
technically.
job finished?
So
What
what's
is
your
he
evening
indexing?
action, Tarin?
I was gonna cast Armor of Agathis because I'm a little paranoid.
Okay.
Cast Fly and then do some aerial reconnaissance.
Where at?
Just the whole time. I mean, I've got 10 minutes to fly, and once I start falling, I got another 10 minutes to fly. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna fly.
I mean, you got the bird's eye view of the mountain ahead of you here, so this is what you see.
Yeah, I'm just circling the mountain, seeing if there's anything interesting or unusual that I noticed from the air that I didn't see from the ground.
I mean, you get a good look at the little Flumph caves over here, and you get a good look at the big, what looks to be like a stone pit here with the trees that are cracked over it. You get a good look at the corrupted forest here. You see Khalil sitting with 2 fat naked men in the hot springs.
God.
You see Cube crisscrossing the yard, flagging down acolytes and regaling them with questions.
When you say crisscrossing, is he traveling at exactly 90-degree angles?
Yes, he is. Cube is always most comfortable traveling along a strict north-south or east-west axis.
Cube feels most at home on a 5x5 grid.
That's basically it. If there's nothing obvious, maybe I'll. How much time does that take to just buzz the mountain a couple times?
As much time as you want. I mean...
Okay, I was going to say, if there's some time left in the fly spell, I might buzz the outlying hills.
So what is Tarin, or what is Cube indexing?
Cube
The
didn't...
interests.
Yeah, Cube didn't really understand the concept of, hey, just go wander around and explore, so Tarin gave him the explicit command, find out all of the inhabitants of the monastery and index their interests. So Cube has been... Cube has basically been interviewing monks all day.
I love Cube.
And they're all cool with this Cube coming up to them being like,
Oh, everyone
excuse
loves
me.
Cube.
Cube is a
Okay.
very interesting creature.
All
Cube
right.
is a
Cube
very
is
popular
delightful.
member of our party.
And Ferdak knew exactly what he was on sight. Ferdak has clearly
Right,
dealt
that
with these before.
That I picked up on.
So that's it, Terry. I mean, the surrounding hills, empty. And you don't see anything.
Okay.
They're mostly heavily forested. Most of them are not quite as steep as this. This one's definitely the tallest of them. But you don't see any signs of civilization. You don't see... I mean, to your credit, you don't see any rampaging goblin hordes heading your way, which is good.
Right. Stuff like that I'd like to know about. After that, I'll land in the monastery, take my dinner, and go get a short rest to get my spell slots back in my room.
Okay. And Eldove.
Oh, before Eldove goes, I am preparing the spell remove curse for Zook.
Okay, yeah,
bless
you
you.
could do that during your long rest tonight.
Okay.
Eldove,
Yo.
what's up? You're the last one doing an evening action.
Oh, that tea didn't put me out?
Yeah, I remember
You don't really know what the tea is going to do to you, but you don't feel any sleepier than normal. I mean, it's not nighttime yet. It's in the evening right now.
Eldo's gonna go check out this hot spring.
All right, you get down there, and Khalil is down there with the two merchants.
Tiny penises.
Tiny
Oh.
penises.
And there he is right now.
They are,
Tiny penis.
however, they are bigger than Eldove's. She's an elf. Come on, guys.
I'm only a half elf.
So it's only half as big as a regular elf's. Eric's not there anymore.
Here, let me move.
Here's the thing, though. I have an 18 charisma.
That doesn't translate to penis size.
You can convince people
But
that you have a big penis.
prestidigitation
then.
does.
Oh my god.
No.
fine.
Prestidigitation just makes it taste better.
That's it.
Good night,
That's it.
everyone.
The campaign.
Good
night, everybody. Good night.
We're going home.
Okay. So yeah, Eldove comes walking down about the time that Khalil mentions, yeah, you're not going to set up this meeting for tomorrow. I just got to talk to him
Oh,
first,
I
and here comes
completely
Eldove.
forgot about this fucking thing. Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
so
so
Flumph there,
unhappy
baby.
about this.
Flumph paint.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, here he is right now. Eldove. This is Batman 1, Batman 2. I can't think of their names.
Jason and Glazin.
Wait,
Jason and
really?
Jason and Gleason.
Jason
He's
Gleason,
glazing
that's
some donuts.
Okay, so
Eldove looks at you with a little bit of trepidation. He's like, hello. He assumed that there would be separate baths.
Oh. No, not so much.
Eldove doesn't want to bathe with the riffraff.
Yeah.
Not so much, Eldove.
And Jason looks at Khalil, like, expectantly, like, waiting for Khalil to say something. Like,
Well, Eldove, these two gentlemen have been. We were just talking about a business venture that they were working on, and they seem to have run into a bit of a snag. And I thought that you might be able to help them.
and Jason speaks up, says, what we need is a facilitator. Someone who can bring our ideas to the monks in a way that makes enough sense to them that they'll agree to do it.
And what's your idea?
And they explain that they want to arrange to buy some quantity of this Flumph paint so they can take it and sell it in the high-end art world. They say that they're sure they can sell people on the idea that these Flumphs make psychically charged paint that make more vivid pictures and trigger emotions and familiar feelings and all hogwash, of course, but they're sure they can sell the idea to people. People will pay a premium for high-end Flumph paint.
Well, here's the thing: is it doesn't seem like you're offering them anything they want.
And that's the problem with monks. They don't want anything. All this spiritual oneness and hogwash.
Well, it seems like they do want something. They want different stories. So perhaps if you were to offer to gather some for them, they might be more interested in that.
Yes, we both already told the old woman our stories, and she said they were good enough for lodging and an appointment with the Dream Seers and whatnot, but we didn't come for an appointment with the Dream Seers, you see. We want a long-term relationship with these monks, a trade relationship.
You know what? That's a shame. I'm afraid I don't have any ideas to help you.
And they look very dejected.
Sorry, I thought he might be of help, but...
Just at that moment, a loud cawing echoes from 20 feet away. Eldove goes, "Oh, sorry, I think I need to go get that. Goodbye."
A loud what?
A loud cawing as if from a small bird. Oh my god, what's that? Oh, runs out.
Well, okay.
Bye! So Eldove exiles himself from the fat man. So everybody taking a long rest over the course of the night?
Yeah.
Sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
Who is sleeping?
Are you guys going through with your plan to raise the tiny hut outside?
Oh yeah, the tiny hut is definitely going to happen.
Zook is
Well,
absolutely in that.
Eldove,
Oh, I
you were
thought you
given
were gonna-
instructions
I
to
thought you were
sleep
going
in
to-
the cell.
Oh, was I?
Yeah, he told you to drink
Yes.
as much of the tea as you could stand, and then sleep in your room at the quarters.
I tell them that they have to go message Fred then. I can't make the tiny hut without sleeping in it.
Fred's happy to make a tiny hut for you all out here in the yard if you want.
Khalil will happily oblige.
Yeah. Zook is all about the tiny hut action.
Okay.
Before going to sleep, there's one thing I'd like to do.
Okay.
I would like to cast Dream and attempt to contact that non-responsive Illithid from the first time my dream was hijacked.
Okay.
Oh, this will be fun.
And
What
You once
are our
again-
sleeping options?
okay, the basement level of the quarters here, there's a large mausoleum all under this hill. And when the monks came up here, they took all the bodies out and got rid of them and converted the lower levels of the mausoleum into cells for monks and guests to sleep in. So your room that you paid for with your sea shanty is this tiny little former crypt room with a straw mat and an unlockable wooden chest and a torch sconce on the wall. And
Cool.
Those are your living quarters while you're here.
Sounds good.
I gotta go let my dog in because he's going ham sandwich. Also,
Oh, Brick Road, I do turn into a pumpkin tonight at 8 o'clock, so...
what is that my time?
10 o'clock.
Okay. Well, it's not a hack and slash session, so
Yeah.
it'll be super easy to phase you out. Let me go.
I might.
I'm gonna go let my dog in. He might be barking because Peanut's home. It is 7:30 here, and if she's home, that means my food's here. And if my food's here, we're gonna break for dinner. But I gotta go and see what the haps is real quick.
All right.
So 2 minutes.
My crazy chain whip thing leveled up, and I forgot about it.
Have you?
You have
that
not
one?
used that.
No, I keep
It's-
thinking. Well, the thing is, it's very situational, and like, there's very few times that Zook wants to pull something towards him. I was going to use it against the dragon, and then it got too far away, and then I
Why
was going
didn't you use it to pull a sweet lever?
to use to pull a what?
We've been opening up doors and shit. You should be using it for that.
Well, I only can use it once per long rest.
Okay. So, but you never need it for anything, so just use it for whatever.
I'm waiting for a situation where we need to pull a monster like out of hiding or towards us for some reason.
Okay. If you're
Here's the thing,
sleeping,
I don't know a single time when you're gonna want to pull a dude right onto your grill.
Well, and I only pulled him 10 feet closer towards me, so it's not going to pull him right on top of me. I pull him from a range of...
15.
so do I have
am
this?
on mute?
Zook, Khalil, and Eldove are staying in the hut. So Arik's in a
Yeah,
cell,
looks like
Orphan's
it.
in a cell, Tarin's in a cell, and
No,
Eldove.
Eldove is not in the hut.
So Eldove is in a cell.
Fred is in the hut.
Well, yeah, this is Fred's hut over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pretty
if
sure
I'm
it's
not-
Leoman's.
Yeah, if you're in a cell, you're over here.
Yeah, but move me over, or I'll
Okay.
move myself.
I already moved you.
Do we?
Where do you tell Cube to sleep?
Wait, where are you guys sleeping? Where's the hut?
It's out here in the yard.
I'm gonna have Weldon stare at you while you sleep.
And Weldon stands there. When he's inactive, he just looks like a suit of armor, just standing there. Just like 8 foot tall suit of armor. So where do you guys tell Cube to sleep?
You're the Tarin. You're the one who's been kind of in charge of Cube.
I'll tell Cube to rest in his room.
Okay, then he goes back to his cell. And because Arik wasn't here for it, when Cube was interviewed by Dayan, she taught him what a melody was, and he sang the first 10,000 digits of pi.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
Tarin, you have the same dream as the first time you tried to cast this spell. Where again, the Illithid King was sitting in a room, and when
that was the whole intent.
Yeah,
to get that dream back.
So you get back to that dream, but you're not able to find your way into his mind in any way.
Right.
I
assumed that much. At this point, I'm just going to dream myself up a notebook because I have control of the morphic properties of the dream world.
Okay.
And I'll start taking notes in the place. I'll make exhaustive details and try and commit all of them to memory.
But can you morph up a quasi-real steed?
Oh yeah, I can morph up a quasi-real stampede of horses if I want.
All right,
That's the power of dreams.
Tarin, you have the dream. You have in your appointment with the Dream Seer tomorrow morning.
Yep.
So your morning action is
Dream Seer.
yes. Everybody else's morning actions. Go ahead and place yourself where you want to be. Oh, Tarin, by the way, Cube does report to you at night before you go to sleep. Do you want me to run down the list of NPCs and tell you everything he learned?
Yes, give me a second. My indexing job is done. Awesome. This is the best database interface ever.
It took him most of the day.
Okay.
First, obviously, is Fairdak, who you already know.
Yep.
Fairdak has 7 students.
Wait, what's Therdak's interest?
Yeah, what's Fairdak's interest?
Like, what did he tell Cube his interests were?
You guys. He's interested in visitors from other worlds. The eldest student is Dayan, the Seneschal. Her interests are fiction, stories, songs, any works of art.
Okay.
The next eldest would be Nich, who we met down in the hot springs. And his interests, more than anything, are the Githzerai. Like, he longs to meet more of Therdak's kind. Like, that's his... Because they're natural psionicists, and they're very, very talented monks. They're very disciplined and very logical, and Nich sees himself as becoming more like that.
Rick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but could you do the rest of this in Cube's voice?
No. The next would be Gremig, the other acolyte we met in the hot springs, and he's very interested in the Flumph in particular. He is very convinced that the things you see in dreams are real. He keeps a notebook of his dreams that he has every night, and he sees the Dream Seers at every opportunity. Let's see here. I don't have interests written for all these NPCs, so we're just going to have to make stuff up as we go.
You have a small teenage girl whose interests are, you're adorable!
One of them is Arwilzen. She's a human in her early 20s. She was formerly a noblewoman in Dunfoss. She came here on a pilgrimage to have a dream read just as a lark, but when she came here, she fell in love with Fairdak's philosophy, decided to stay behind, much to the chagrin of her family. Her interests are small dogs, long walks on the beach. There is Shamira. Shamira is a female human. She's in her late 30s. She's the one that Arik saw briefly in the hallway. And she was very reluctant to talk to Cube. Like, she was not sure what she was being asked. And Cube is very apologetic. And he was not able to get much more than her name.
I have that one listed as an index error.
Okay. All of the students, by the way, these are not their birth names. Fairdak gave them new names once they entered his tutelage.
Okay.
So they're all given traditional Githzerai names.
Yeah.
The young boy that Orphan met in the monastery, his name is Dromok. He and his brother were lived in a village that was raised by orcs. They both managed to escape, but his brother died last winter. He was injured and died of exposure, and Dromok was not able to take care of him. The Flumphs found him asleep in a river cave and led him back here. And he's a pubescent boy, so his interests are mostly boobs.
I have that listed as Chimera.
You have to tell me what Cube says.
The next one is Grodd. Grodd is interested in fighting. He's a human in his 20s. He's interested in martial arts. He is very interested in the physical aspect of training as a monk. And that's all 7, yes? Yes.
Yep, that's all.
He would not have indexed any of the Rangers. The Rangers were not up here at the monastery. He would not have indexed Thodrin. Thodrin has not come to the monastery either. Jason and Glazin, who he indexed. We already know what their interests are. That's what they would have told him. They're interested in money, 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 money. Mock, he's interested in adventuring. He's interested in getting his great axe made. The two young teenage girls, the giggly ones that Orphan ran into briefly, their names are Sarah and Rebecca. They traveled here. They are the youngest daughters of like a middling, well-to-do merchant, and their father was going to marry them off, and they didn't want any part of that, so they ran away. And they heard of this monastery, and they traveled here thinking that maybe we could be monks. Maybe we will. So right now they're staying here, and they've stayed here for some time, kind of weighing their options. Like right now, they're just glad to have a secure place, well away from their father. And the last one would be Cleric. Cleric is interested in smashing illithid heads, basically. He wants to kill as many squid heads as physically possible. And in doing so, he believes that it will secure not only the Gnomish kingdom that he comes from, but also the mountain that the monastery sits on. And that is the exhaustive list of everything that Cube indexed today.
Query, definition of squid head.
And you notice that Cube diligently recites all of the names of these people. This is the first time you've heard Cube use names to actually identify a particular person. Okay, so now everybody put yourself in morning actions.
What has he been calling us?
He called you by identifiers. Like he used to call his wizard the bushy mustache gentleman. He was calling you the horned lady. He was calling Eldove the well-dressed gentleman, and so on. And that happened through your entire travel here. It wasn't until this indexing job that he's understood names.
That's why Eldove likes Cube so much.
But what does Cube call the rest of us? Because now I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah.
He would have called Fred the bald tattooed gentleman. Let's see.
Not to put you on the spot, but I'm curious.
Zook would have been the short gentleman, the short bearded gentleman if he has his beard out.
Beard's always out.
Arik would have been the fish scented gentleman.
Nice.
And I don't know Tarin's physical characteristics well enough.
They've been written down since the first session. Let's see here. He's 6'2", or I'm sorry, 5'6", 130, short dark hair with a pale skin tone, strange piercing eyes that shift between a variety of colors.
Then he would have gone with the multicolored iris gentleman. Wow, you're even more of a Mary Sue than Eldove is. Anyway.
Yeah, really.
Morning actions, everybody. Let's get to it. So Tarin's going to. He's got a Dream Seer. What do you guys do with Cube? What's Cube told to do?
Cube, why don't you index? Today, I would like you to take your previous index and expound upon it with the backstories of all the people in the monastery.
And he diligently gets to work. Alright,
You're
where's
a terrorist.
Whose idea was it to give Tarin a computer?
everybody else? Is everybody else placed where you want to be for the morning?
Yeah.
One question.
Yeah.
I was thinking about meditating at the meditation chamber, but is that where the Flumphs are?
It will be closed off in the morning because Tarin will be occupying it.
Okay. I'll think of something else then.
Okay.
Let's see here.
You are free to meditate anywhere else you'd like, though. I mean, there are spaces in the monastery building proper that will be quiet and contemplative, if that's your thing.
Okay.
They can have some of the incense sent over to burn off if you want to get all hippy-dippy with it. Alright, let's start with Orphan then.
What are you doing?
Hippy-dippy, huh?
I'll be right back.
Is Eldove doing the worm? What the... What the... What? Wait, no, do that again.
Yeah, do that again.
Oh, okay. Well, we found a new thing to do.
Who gave Nodal physics privileges?
Alright, so
This isn't physics privileges, it's...
the game is ruined for the next 5 or 6 minutes. Everybody get it out of your system. Go ahead. Warm it all up.
Cool.
Wait,
cool.
is there anybody in the bath right now?
If you go into the bath and look, are you going to walk away if there's not?
Yeah.
When you go down there,
I'm gonna send a tiny bird over there to go check and see if there's someone in the bath.
it's not occupied. It's a first light.
Alright, I'm gonna head into the bath, and I'm gonna do a little swim.
Orphan!
Right.
Morning action.
She's gonna look around this old ruined, the ruined keep.
There's no inside to the keep. I mean, it's a pile of rubble. You can climb up on top of it and go over it.
Oh, okay.
This keep is... You can see trails of scorch marks where it looks like just licks of flame from one corner of it to the other. Just blackened, charred stone, and it's been sitting this way for centuries.
Okay.
There's been no effort whatsoever to reconstruct any part of this keep.
All right. In that case, I'll just pass by it on my way over to the monastery and do some meditation there.
Okay, and yeah, they find you a quiet room in the monastery for meditation. They adjust the light to your liking and bring you incense and whatever you need to do your contemplations. Do you have a specific goal in mind, or are we just gonna chill?
Just chilling.
Okay. Arik, did you guys both go to the Rangers?
Oh, that's a good point. Arik, were we going to the Rangers tomorrow together? I think we lost Arik.
Did we lose him?
Are you on mute?
Did Arik need to get his armor repaired?
No, he never got hit with a rust bomb.
Yeah, it was just me and...
Lips are not flapping, so I think
yeah.
he's just after.
Well, let's go.
There he goes.
What's up?
Are
I
you
got
going,
my name.
You're going to the Ranger?
Were you going to the Rangers?
No, I want to survey the cursed woods, the poison woods.
Okay.
I'm so happy with that.
Sounds like a good idea. Oh wait, did you uncurse my dagger last night, or
Probably this morning. I would have cast remove curse on you.
Then you can remove that from your attunement, Zook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that
it's
all
one
it
action.
means? It's not uncursed.
Right. The
not
magic
uncursed.
item is not uncursed.
You're
At your
unattuned
touch,
from
all
it.
curses affecting one creature or object end. If the creature is a cursed magic item, its curse remains, but the spell breaks its owner's attunement to the object, so it can be removed or discarded.
Okay. Well, at least now if
there's
someone
no
steals
expensive
it,
components or anything, so
at least
all
now
good.
if
You
someone
can just stuff
steals
that
it,
in your
it won't
bag
kill
and-
me.
Forget about it.
yeah.
You could destroy it.
Okay,
We
so
could give it to someone as a gift.
Eric's going to the corrupted, cursed woods, yes?
Yeah.
And we're sure that's a good idea.
He's not going in.
Okay.
He just wants to survey it.
Oh, okay. I guess I can put the monster manual away then.
Her.
So yeah, this road that comes down, this switchback comes down, and it skirts the edges of the woods before turning down and going to the ranger's shack. And looking in, there is a great corruption on this place. Something long ago took hold in this place and just turned this section of the woods. The rest of the forest on the mountain and all the forest outside the walls are teeming with life. But this section of the woods, the plants look wilted and black, but they're not dead. The sunlight doesn't seem to penetrate the tree canopy here as well as other places. It looks just like a fell place.
Huh. So, detect evil on it. It's all evil.
Well, detect evil doesn't actually detect evil anymore. It detects certain kinds of creatures.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah. For the duration.
Don't we go over this like every session?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
It can detect aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead.
I think that's
Seems
worth
like
a casting
Within
anyway.
30 feet. Now, you don't detect any of those creatures within 30 feet, but you definitely detect something... let me look, actually. That's a good question.
Now, if you had Dispel Evil and Good...
I do.
You can find it and you can get rid of it.
Get rid of this fucking forest.
Bear with me just 1 second. I gotta do some research.
Sure.
Dispel forest. It's a spell. It's a spell of
You know
Osmond
if there's
Forest.
You know if there's a place within 30 feet of you, or a creature within 30 feet of you, as well as where it is. And you know if a place or object within 30 feet of you has been magically consecrated or desecrated.
Yeah, using Detect Evil and Good within 30 feet, standing at the edge, detecting the plant life here, you detect traces of aberrations and fey.
Huh. Traces of aberrations and
You
fey.
don't, there's no creatures around, but it seems like the plant life itself are both aberrant and fairy-like.
Well, that's terrifying.
I say we
Maybe
go
don't
in there.
Go in there.
Just to clarify for everybody that doesn't know the 5e terminology, an aberration is like something from beyond the planes known by man, like...
No, that's not the scary part.
like a Flumph is technically an aberration. So our Illithids, Cthulhu would be an aberration. Everything that Tarin does is aberrant. And then the Fae are fairy creatures, sprites and witches and fairies and things like that.
Right.
Shoe repairing brownies and, you know. And that's what you sense coming off of this.
All that weirdness.
Go in, have a look.
Nope. Not doing that by myself.
Are you saying that you learned from Orphan's mistakes?
Yeah.
Somebody does.
That's what we'll go with.
I can almost guarantee if you go into this woods, there will be no assassins waiting for you.
No assassins, huh? What about...
No assassin vines?
Uh-oh, Edgar's
Nope,
going
Edgar's
home.
waiting
can
for
I...
you.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Can
finish.
I cast Detect Poison and Disease? And the reason why I ask is for the duration you can sense the presence and location of poisons, poisonous creatures, and diseases within 30 feet of you. You can also identify the kind of poison, poisonous creature, or disease in such case. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch metal,
I don't
1 sheet of
have
lead.
the actual rules for the poison and disease that these plants are going under, but here's what we'll do.
But
They're definitely poisonous, they're definitely diseased, and having cast that spell, you are now able to efficiently treat anybody who befalls these particular poisons from these plants.
okay.
So if anybody falls under the poison or disease imbued by the plant life in this woods, you can take care of
Cool.
it.
Me.
Cool. All right. Well, in
can
that
be me.
case, my curiosity has been sufficiently satiated for the time being. You should
Okay.
go do something about Edgar.
Well, it's because my
and I'll
wife's
head-
home. He's going to keep
Yeah,
barking
sounds
until
like
she
a
walks in.
signal.
Okay.
You should
Um,
throw that dog out a window.
that is
Wouldn't
a-
have to be a big window.
Yeah. All right. I feel like I've done what I can do with
Okay.
these woods, so I'm gonna head back to, I guess, the mausoleum.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and...
You weren't,
I'm going to go ahead and
weren't
put...
around earlier. Is your armor rusted? I can't remember.
Mine? No, mine should not be rusted.
No, it's just myself with Tarin's.
I'm going to go ahead and put Elizabeth on the screen, take my dinner break, so we will reconvene in about 20 minutes. Now is a good time
Alright,
for
cool.
all of you to go make a sandwich or whatever.
Good.
Thanks everybody for watching tonight. I appreciate all the follows and everything. We have a lot more of this to go after I put food in my face.
Be right back.
Be right back. We're all gonna be really quiet now.
Yep.